more than aspirin, more than ibuprofen. For headaches, doctors recommend extra-strength Tylenol the most.
This is acetaminophen, but you and I know it as Tylenol. Tylenol is an analgesic, or a medicine used to relieve pain. But how does it work? The active ingredient is acetaminophen. It works by preventing the body from releasing prostaglandin, the chemical that lets your nerves send pain signals to your brain, thus increasing the amount of pain needed for it to be felt. Acetaminophen is composed of 8 carbon atoms, 9 hydrogen atoms, 1 nitrogen atom, and 2 oxygen atoms. This creates a covalent compound. Each of the atoms share electrons to create a bond rather than giving and taking like in ionic compounds. An example of shared electrons can be seen in the double bonds in the oxygen and in the hexagonal carbon structure. It's a white powder and it looks like this. The second ingredient is microcrystalline cellulose, but I'll just call it cellulose for short. This is a polymer and is composed of a repeating monomer made of 14 carbon atoms, 26 hydrogen atoms, and 11 oxygen atoms. This specific form of cellulose is called MCC102 and is made from refining wood pulp. Yeah, you heard that right. It's wood. But don't worry, this wood pulp is highly refined and quality controlled for use in pharmaceuticals. In fact, it's used for many other pills and tablets in the industry. It's used to add bulk to the tablet, allowing for more exact measurements to be achieved when dosing the medicine. It dissolves easily when it's consumed, so it's widely used in a variety of medicines. Due to it being a powder, it can be easily compressed. Yes, I know it looks exactly like the last picture, but it's not the same. I promise. The final ingredient is magnesium stearate. This is an ionic compound with a cation of magnesium and 2 anions of stearate or stearic acid. Stearic acid is a long molecule made of 18 carbon atoms, 36 hydrogen atoms, and 2 oxygen atoms, and has a net charge of -1. On its own, stearic acid is a waxy solid. It's commonly derived from plant or animal fat. When 2 of these join with magnesium, a metal with a +2 charge, they create magnesium stearate. That waxy solid you just saw now turns into a salt that can be compressed into a pill. Yeah, it's also a white powder. Do you see where I'm going with this? Upon ingestion, the ionic compound dissolves and splits apart into its cation and anion. The magnesium is absorbed into the body, and since stearic acid is a fat, it's insoluble in water. This allows it to coat the rest of the contents of the pill to prevent them from clumping up and allowing it to flow better in the body. This is what's known as a flow agent. Tylenol is an incredibly useful thing to have in modern day society. It can provide relief to moderate pain, but in some cases, it can cause more damage than it fixes. You see, when Tylenol is metabolized in the liver, it releases a byproduct called NAPQI. NAPQI is toxic, but minimal amounts are created through the recommended consumption of Tylenol and are quickly detoxified by the liver. However, when larger doses are taken, the liver isn't able to handle the high concentration and begins to suffer irreversible tissue damage. This is how an overdose can kill you. Long-term use of Tylenol increases the probability of a tolerance being developed, meaning your body requires more of the drug to feel its effects. To compensate, one must increase the dose of the drug to be able to use it as intended, which greatly increases the risk of overdosing from what may have felt like a normal dose. Additionally, this kind of medicine has been shown to impact natural environments as well. Improper disposal such as flushing the pills down the toilet or draining them in the sink can cause them to end up in aquatic habitats. There, they contaminate the water, finding their way into the organs of the marine life present. Fish have been reported to have trace amounts of acetaminophen in their gills, lungs, and liver. Since this dose was so minimal, it didn't lead to their deaths, but unfortunately, it did lead to reproductive harm and damaged organs and senses. Fortunately, all of these problems can be solved by just using the drug the way the manufacturers recommend. When using Tylenol, or any medicine for that matter, always read the label and only use the safe dose that was recommended by the manufacturer. If you have unused or expired Tylenol, take it to your local pharmacy so that they can dispose of it properly. So now you know just a little bit more about Tylenol. Or at least I hope you do. Thanks for watching.